Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to our teacher, Most Venerable Kiribati Jnanananda Thero. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Meritorious devotees, today also we have the opportunity to learn the teachings of the Buddha. We have to understand that this opportunity we have got is extremely rare. It is not something that we come across every now and then. It is scarce. Because the arising of a Buddha to this world is not something that happens often. Buddha taught us for the past 91 eons, only 7 Buddhas arose in this world. That's 7. And dear friends, an eon is a long time, a very long time. It's uncountable. Therefore, once a monk approached the Buddha and he asked, Venerable Sir, Blessed One, how long exactly is an eon? Buddha said, Bhikkhu, the monk, we can't say it is this much. Can't give a number, a figure for how long an eon is. Then the monk again asked, okay Buddha, then can you give me a simile? Can you teach me a simile so that I can understand the extent, the length of an eon, the time span of an eon? Then Buddha said, monk, imagine you build a parapet wall. You build a parapet wall around the village that is 10 kilometers long, 10 kilometers in breadth, and 10 kilometers in height. And to the brink of this parapet wall, you fill mustard seeds. Now think of the volume, 10 kilometers long, 10 kilometers in width and 10 kilometers in height. And you fill this whole volume, this area, with mustard seeds. And once in every 100 years, a person comes and picks out one mustard seed. In this manner, there will come a day when all the mustard seeds have been taken out. Still, Buddha said, the yarn has not been finished. The yarn is still more longer time period. So just imagine filling so that you can understand better, a football stadium with mustard seeds and picking out one in every 100 years. How long would it take to pick up all the mustard seeds? So for such 91 years, only 7 Buddhas arose in this world. 91 years back, Vipassī Samma Sambuddha arose in this world. Then for 60 long eons, there were no Buddhas in this world. So there was no talk of the Four Noble Truths, nor the Eightfold Paths, or the Dhamma we learn today. Then thereafter 16 years, there was again 2 Buddhas in this world, Sikhi and Vessabhu Samma Sambuddha. Then again for 30 eons, no Buddhas arose in this world. Then fortunately, Kakusanda, Konagamana, Kasyapa and Gautama, the 4 Samma Sambuddhas arose in this eon that we now live in. And also, it is in the same yon that our Buddha said, the Blessed One said, the Maitri Samma Sambuddha would also arise in future. So we have to understand that it is very rare, the arising of the Buddha. So that now we have not only come across the Buddha's dispensation, we are fortunate to learn the teachings of the Buddha as well. So if we fail to make the most of this opportunity, then we will regret it forever. And we will again be thrown into the four planes of misery over and over again as we wander through the woeful life cycle in the samsara. So it is to rid ourselves from this misery that we practice, we learn and try to put into practice the teachings of the Buddha. And today also we are going to learn a very beautiful sutta. This sutta is found in the middle length discourses of the Buddha, Majjhima Nikaya. The name of the sutta is Vammika Sutta. Vammika means the ant hill. So at that time the Buddha, the Blessed One, was living in Savatthi, the Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's Park. And the Venerable Kumara Kassapa, he was dwelling in the Blind Man's Grove. That was the name of that place. And it so happened that at night, late at night, a certain deity of beautiful appearance who illuminated the whole world, whole of the Blind Man's Grove, approached the Venerable Kumara Kassapa, stood at one side, and standing, he told Venerable Kumara Kassapa a riddle. He told the Venerable a riddle. So what was the riddle? So in this riddle, the deity said, there is a Brahmin, and this Brahmin addresses a wise person. And he tells certain things for him to do. And this is how the deity said, Bhikkhu Bhikkhu. That is, he is telling the Venerable Kassapa, Kumara Kassapa, Bhikkhu, this ant hill fumes by night and flames by day. So there is an ant hill that fumes by night and flames by day. So this is the riddle. And then the deity goes on to say, when there is this such an ant hill, a Brahmin tells in this manner. He tells a wise person, delve with the tool, though wise out. He says to dig up what? The ant hill. Dig up the ant hill with the tool. So say, what would you use to dig up ant hill? Say a garden shovel. So he asked this person, the Brahmin asked the wise person to dig up, to delve into the ant hill with a shovel, say a garden shovel or a tool. So then he digs up. Delving with the garden shovel, the wise one saw a bar, a door bar. So he comes across a door bar. Remember, this is a riddle, okay? Then the wise man tells the Brahmin, a bar. Oh, Venerable Sir, I came across a bar. Then he tells the wise person, the Brahmin tells, okay, throw away the bar and keep digging. So he keeps digging. Then he comes across a toad. So again the Brahmin say, okay, throw away the toad and keep on digging, he tells the wise person. Then when the wise person keeps on digging with the garden shovel or whatever tool he is using, then he comes across a fork road actually. A fork road is like when you are walking on a path, suddenly you find that the path or the road, it becomes two roads. So then you call it a fork road. When the road is divided into two separate parts, then you say it's a fork road. So then when this person, the wise person, when he is doing as advised by the Brahmin, he comes across a fork road. So the Brahmin says, throw out the fork road as well and keep on digging. So the wise person keeps on digging. Then he comes across a sieve. Sieve means a strainer. He comes across a strainer. Again, Brahmin says, wise person, throw away the sieve and keep on digging, delving further into the anthill. Then he, by doing so, comes across a tortoise. So then again he is advised to throw away the tortoise. And he does so and keep on digging. And when he is delving again with the tool, the garden shovel, the wise one comes across an axe and a block. An axe and a block. And the Brahmin advises the wise person, throw that away as well and keep on digging. Do not stop, wise man. And then he keeps on digging and then he comes across a piece of meat. What does he come across? A lump of meat. Then again he is told to keep on digging. Throw away the lump of meat as well and keep on digging further. And when he digs further into the anthill, he comes across a naga serpent. Then the Brahmin advises him, leave the naga serpent. Leave him. Let him be. Do not harm the naga serpent. Honor the naga serpent. Respect the naga serpent, said the Brahmin to the wise person. So this is the riddle. Okay? So there are a lot of facts that was told here. There was Brahmin. There was a wise person. He was told to dig, keep on digging. And they came across certain things while digging. And he was asked to throw away all of those things until they arrived at a naga serpent, and he was told to respect the naga serpent. And then the deity goes on to say, after narrating the riddle, Bhikkhu, you should now go to the Blessed One and ask him about this riddle. Ask him to solve this for you. As the Blessed One tells you, so you should remember it. You should remember the meaning just as the Blessed One teaches you. Bhikkhu, other than the Tathagata, that is means other than the Buddha, the Blessed One, or a disciple of the Tathagata, the Blessed One, or one who has learned from them, I see no one in this world with its gods, its maras and its brahmas. In this generation with its recluses and brahmins, its princes and its people, whose explanation of this riddle might satisfy the mind. What does he mean? The deity is saying no one else can solve this riddle. Only the Buddha or one of his disciples or anyone else who have learned from the Buddha or any of his disciples. They are the only ones who can solve this riddle. So Venerable Kumara Kassapa, next day in the morning, he approaches the Buddha. So after saying the riddle, the deity, he vanished. So think, how would you react as a person if you happen to come across such a situation? Say a deity suddenly appears in front of you and asks you a riddle like this. Can you fathom it? You will be stupefied, amazed. You will even faint. Because you cannot come to terms of such a thing. But that was not the case in the time of the Buddha. People were more strong mentally. So they could cope with such situation. That is why, and they had the qualities that helps you to cope with such situations. That is why deities came to them in this manner and helped them practice the Dhamma. So then Venerable Kumara Kassapa, this is before Venerable Kumara Kassapa became an Arahant. Later on he becomes an Arahant. So Venerable Kumara Kassapa now approaches the Buddha next day, and then he tells the Buddha of what occurred last night, of the deity and the riddle. So then Buddha is going to now solve the riddle. So this is the questions. Now after hearing to this narration by the deity, he approaches the Buddha and this is what he says. Venerable Sir, what is the anthill? Now he has clearly broken down this narration into 15 questions. Not only did he remember the narrative, he is wise enough to compartmentalize the whole incident, the narrative, into 15 questions. Now see what are the questions. Venerable Sir, what is the anthill? What is the fuming by night? What the flaming by day? What does they mean? Who is the Brahmin and who is the wise one? What is the garden shower? What does it mean to dig? What the delving? What is the bar? What is the toad here? What does the fork rod stands for? What is the sieve? What is the tortoise? What does the tortoise stand for? What does the axe and the block mean? What does the piece of meat means? What does it symbolize? What the Naga serpent stands for? So these are, all in all, there are 15 questions. How smart now? Think. How wise? Venerable Kumara Kassapa. Can you retain easily these things? Now we learned this, we heard. You heard what I said. Can you recall all these aspects? And see how he was able to break it down and also narrate it in front of the Buddha without missing any point? That is why nowadays people over time, over the years, when their qualities, human qualities, they degraded, along with that all the wisdom, the faculties that help you to realize this sublime Dhamma, they were lost. So actually as people we are very weak. But we have to have faith, belief in the Dhamma, because the Dhamma is still preserved. And Dhamma has the power to cleanse you of all the defilements. Because the teachings, they have not been hindered in any way. So if you still practice, you can reap the benefits. You should have the belief. That is why we after all learn all these suttas. So you can put these things into practice and experience the happiness of actually living by the teachings of the Buddha. That is the fortune we have come across in this life. And that fortune can change our path in the samsaric journey for once and forever. It's a choice you have to make. Whether you are going to make the most of this opportunity or give it up. Mark my words, if you give up on Dhamma, you will regret it. Not only in this life, but forever in the samsaric journey. So try to learn and retain these Dhamma facts and practice them. So then Buddha, now he's going to solve the riddle, okay? So he says, Bhikkhu, here, the anthill is a symbol for this body. So the anthill symbolizes our body. The body that is made of the four elements. Water element, the earth element, water element, heat element, and the air element. So our body is made up of these four elements. And also it is procreated by a mother and a father. So we are born of our parents, Buddha says here. Built up out of boiled rice and porridge. That means all of us, we live on food. And subject to impermanence, to being worn and rubbed away, to dissolution and disintegration. That is the nature of this body. Gradually over time, it disintegrates. And one day when we die, it becomes one with the soil. It becomes part of the earth. So each one of us, our lives are anthills. And what do you find in an anthill? You find holes. You find entrances. Likewise, in this life of ours, there are 6 entrances. What are they? The 6 senses. Just as through the holes of an anthill, creatures would crawl into the anthill. Snakes, iguanas, maybe even rats would crawl into the anthill. Likewise, through these 6 senses, snakes and other creatures can crawl into our mind. That is the defilements that crop up in your mind. When your 6 senses are open, your mind gets sullied by all the experience because there is constant contact with the outer world. So if you do not have your mindfulness as your gatekeeper to guard the 6 senses, the doorways, the entrances, the halls in your anthill, you are in trouble. So think of your lives as an anthill, each and every one of your lives. So Buddha said this eye, ear, nose, tongue and body has recourse in the mind. And the mind in turn has recourse in mindfulness. So it is the mindfulness, the gatekeeper, that can protect your life and protect your mind from being sullied from the defilements. That is, sense restraint is very important. So you have to think of your life in this way. It is an anthill. This is the nature. Creatures might crawl into your life and might create havoc in your life, in your mind. And also, is an anthill something very important, something of value? No. It's the same, this body, this life. It is easily perishable. And the anthill, is it something like made of cement? Is it strong? No. It is also brittle. That is the nature of life. Any moment this life can end with death. Any moment. That is why we should be heedful to practice the Dhamma. We don't have a guarantee we might live on for this much. Have you? No, none of us do. So this moment that we have karma code, this opportune moment, we have to practice this Dhamma. We have to give precedence to practicing this Dhamma. Or else regrets. That's all you will have. So dear friends, please learn and practice this Dhamma. So this is like the simile. So the anthill means this body, this life of ours. Then Buddha goes on to say, what one thinks and ponders by night based upon one's actions during by the day is the fuming by night. What does it mean? The anthill is fuming by night means whatever you think and plan, contemplate about in the night is based upon the actions that the things you do during the day. Think of your life. You always reflect upon your day when you go to your sleep. The things you said, the things you did, the troubles you came across, all the mishaps, the suffering, the misery you experienced. You relive this experience when you are about to go to bed. That is why people, because they are fuming by night in this world, that many people have sleep disorders. Many find it hard to have a good night's sleep. Why? You are fuming by night. Throughout the day, your six senses are exposed to the world. And because of all the defiling things that are out there, in turn your mind is sullied with. Because in constant flux and flow, there are experiences coming to the six senses and your mind get defiled. And with the defiled mind, you relive this experience when you are about to go to bed. Then you are fuming by night. The anthill is fuming by night. Smoke is rising from the anthill. How can you have a good night's sleep then? Will you? Never, my friends. That is why there are so many sleep disorder problems, sleep disorders. Then Buddha goes on to say, what is flaming by daytime means? The actions one undertakes during the day by body, speech and mind after thinking and pondering by night is flaming by day. You plan and scheme things at night. Okay, I'm going to do this and that tomorrow. I'm going to tell off that person tomorrow. I am going to take revenge from that person tomorrow. Likewise, you plan, scheme good and bad things. And then in the daytime, you put them into action. That is what it means. The anthill is flaming by day. See, now in this way, reflect upon your life. Isn't this what is going on? That is the basis for all the stress and anxiety in our life. Each and every one of our lives, we are anthills, fuming by the night, flaming by the day, because of the defilements. So we have to get rid of these defilements. We have to purify ourselves. We have to clear the clutter in the anthill. So this is what is taught in this sutta, how to do so. So in this way, you have to reflect upon your life as well. Then thereafter, the Brahmin, Buddha said, here the Brahmin is a symbol for the Tathagata. Because in the riddle they talked about the Brahmin. Who is the Brahmin? Who gives all the advice as to leave this out, throw that out, keep digging. Who is giving the advice? Is the Buddha, the Blessed One, Tathagata. He is the one who is giving advice. It says the Brahmin is a symbol for the Tathagata, accomplished and fully enlightened. The wise one is a symbol for a bhikkhu in higher training. So Tathagata here is the Brahmin, while the wise person who is digging, who is actually doing the things that is told to him, that is a bhikkhu in a Seka bhikkhu, we say. That means he is still training. Who are trainees? One who is treading the path of stream entry, who is a stream entered. One who is treading the path of once returner, and who has achieved the entry of one returner, who is the one returner, and then one who is treading the path of becoming a non-returner and the non-returner. They are all trainees, with the exception of the arahats. They are called seka. Because they have completed the training. There is no more training for the arahant. So here the wise person symbolizes the Seka bhikkhu, the trainee disciple of the Buddha. So in this way, we have to understand Buddha is the Brahmin in this riddle, and the wise one is the trainee bhikkhu who carries out the advice given by the Buddha. And then in the riddle we came across a garden shovel, didn't we? So it is this garden wall. It is actually the sutta, it says a tool. So for you to better understand, the tool which you would dig up actually an anthill is a garden shovel. So it's a symbol. This tool is a symbol for noble wisdom, the wisdom of the noble ones. Only a trained disciple have this wisdom. Only a trainee disciple of the Buddha has this wisdom. Why? This wisdom is found in the teachings of the Buddha. It is in the teachings we are taught how to abandon the unwholesome, how to develop wisdom, how to restrain the senses, how to develop samadhi, how to achieve higher absorptions, concentrations, higher absorptions of mental states. All this, how to practice mindfulness, how to practice insightful meditation, all this is taught in the teachings of the Buddha. If we have not learned the teachings of the Buddha, any other person who is not a noble disciple of the Buddha, he doesn't have the know-how to do these things. He doesn't have the wisdom to develop his mind, to purify his mind. Only a Buddha's disciple who possesses the noble wisdom can do this. So in this way, we have to clear our life, our anthill, by using this noble wisdom which we gain through learning the teachings of the Buddha. That is why we learn the original discourses, the suttas, just as we are doing right now. Then Buddha goes on to say, the delving, the actual act of digging is a symbol. It stands for a rousing of energy, the striving. The act of digging is the striving, the effort you put in to the practice. So in these teachings of the Buddha, it always encourages you to have continuous striving. Because striving is always impermanent. The energy you arouse, it always drops. Again you have to erase energy. That is the nature of it. So you have to always keep arising the effort, keep putting the effort to practice the path. That is the nature. That is why Buddha said, you have to have continuous striving. And also there is a very nice incident in the discussion between Arahant Nagasena and King Milinda. In the Milinda Panya, there is an occasion where the king questioned the Arahant Nagasena, say, Arahant Nagasena, do you have to always strive? Do you have to have continuous effort to abandon defilements? Or can you arouse efforts then and there when the defilements crop up in your mind? Then the Arahant say, no, you have to have continuous effort. And he gave some beautiful similes. He asked the king, King, is it when you get thirsty that you go dig up a well? The king said, no, I do it beforehand. Likewise, you have to keep a continuous effort, keep it up throughout the day to abandon the defilements. King, is it when you get hungry that you go plow the field, throw out the seeds? The king said, no, I plow the field beforehand. So I have all the grains I need for my food. Likewise, Arahant said there have to be continuous effort. That is only successful, or else you are going to be overrun by the defilements. So, if you do not put the fourfold effort, if there is no continuous effort, what is fourfold striving? That is mean you have to strive to abandon the defilements that have not yet arisen. So you have to keep them stifled. Whatever defilements that do arise, you have to abandon them. And you have to develop new wholesome deeds. And whatever wholesome deeds that you have, wholesome qualities you possess, you have to further strengthen and develop them. That is fourfold striving. It is only if you strive in this manner, if there is continuous effort, that you can douse the fire in your anthill. If not, you cannot put out the fire. The ant will keep on. It will always be on fire, in a blaze. So then Buddha goes on to say the bar is a symbol for ignorance, because the first thing he comes across is the bar. The person, when he digs, he comes across a bar. The bar is ignorance. That is the first obstacle. Not knowing the Four Noble Truths. Not having realized the Four Noble Truths. So your path is barred. This is a door bar actually. Normally you close the door and you would put a door bar across so that you cannot reopen it. So it is a door bar so that the door is closed, the path is closed. The door bar symbolizes ignorance, not knowing the Four Noble Truths. So here he is advised, abandon ignorance. Throw out the bar means to abandon ignorance. And keep on digging, delve with the shovel. That is the meaning. So we have to try to realize the Four Noble Truths, understand the Four Noble Truths to dispel the ignorance. Buddha said there is nothing more darker than the ignorance. It's so very dark, a world with ignorance. Because light and darkness, they do not exist together. When light comes, darkness goes away. When there is darkness, there is no light. So when there is realization, when you realize the Four Noble Truths, ignorance is eradicated. So this is why you have to abandon ignorance. Imagine, Buddha said, imagine a world without the sun and the moon. If there is no sun and moon, the whole world will be in total darkness. It is because there is sun and moon that there is day and night, discerning of the day and night, the months, the years, all the seasons. If there was no sun and moon, this total world will be darkness. Buddha said, in the same way, when there is no Buddha in this world, people will be consumed in the darkness of ignorance. It is with the arising of the Buddha, the light of dhamma is spread throughout the world. When the Buddha teaches the Four Noble Truths, and the people, the humans, they get the chance to dispel the darkness within themselves by abandoning ignorance by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. So in this riddle, it is advised to throw away the door bar. That means to give up and abandon ignorance. Then they came across the person while digging, came across a toad. The toad is a symbol for despair that arises, the misery, the gloom that you find in your life because of anger. When anger arises in your mind, there is no happiness there. There is always despair, there is suffering, there is misery, there is gloom. Think of moments you have been angry, the things that you wished you never said, the friendships you have lost, the actions you have done without thinking. the harm you have brought about to yourself, your family friends, your loved ones, the suffering you have brought toward yourself because of the anger. So anger is like a toad, because this toad, it is a small toad that hides in the mind, hides in the anthill, and gradually it grows. So when you get angry, you have to nip it in the bud, because before it grows upon you, before it grows on you, or else then you will be overwhelmed, then you cannot do anything. So you have to spot the toad. It is in hiding, and you have to throw it away. That's what taught here. So his advice, throw out the toad. That means to abandon despair, abandon misery born of anger, and keep on digging with the tool, the garden shovel. So then they came across a fork in the road, a fork road. That means a fork road is a junction in which one road becomes two divergent roads. When the road branch out, you call it fork in the road. Imagine a person coming on this road, then he is in doubt, in a dilemma as to which road I should take. Similarly, in the practice, a person who do not have confidence in the Buddha may come across doubt. So these fork roads symbolize the doubt. If you don't believe in the teachings, you always doubt. Is this correct? Would this work for me? Is this the correct practice I am doing? So there is always doubt cropping up in your mind. If you believe in the teachings, you do not doubt. So what you have to do is, whatever doubt you come across that crops up, you keep it aside and keep on practicing. And when you learn the teachings more and more, these doubts will clear up. That's what you have to do. Because you have to be sure that Buddha knows the way. Because he is the one who found the Noble Eightfold Path, not us. So we have to just follow the path shown by the Buddha. So definitely then we will reach the benefits. So then you have to, in this way, he was told to throw away the fork road and keep on digging. That was the advice. Then you come across a sieve. Sieve is a symbol for the 5 hindrances. Sieve, that means a strainer. So what happens when you put water in a strainer? You know the 5 hindrances. What are the 5 hindrances? The desire for sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, that is the lazy and lethargic state of the mind, and the restless and remorselessness of the mind, and doubt, skeptical doubt. These are the 5 hindrances. And the 5 hindrances is like a sieve, a strainer. When you put water into the strainer, can the strainer, the sieve, retain water? No, because there are holes. The water drains away. Just like the mind with hindrances cannot retain the wholesome. See how beautiful the simile is? The mind with hindrances cannot retain the wholesome. When you develop the mind, that is when you abandon the hindrances, it is a nice ball, a vessel that can hold whatever you pour in. Think of a ball that has no holes, it is not cracked, so you can retain water in that. Likewise, the mind that is devoid of the 5 hindrances can retain the wholesome. So it's a very nice simile. Understand? So then he is instructed to throw away the sieve and keep on digging. That is the advice to the wise man from the Brahmin. Then they come across a tortoise. That wise man comes across a tortoise, and the Buddha says, tortoise here symbolizes what? The 5 aggregates of clinging. The form aggregate, the aggregate of feeling, perception, formation and consciousness. These 5 aggregates that are affected by clinging. We consider these 5 aggregates to be me, mine and myself, and we cling to them. But in reality, they are conditioned things. Form is conditioned of the 4 elements, feeling is conditioned of contact, and so is perception and formations. And consciousness is conditioned from name and form. They arise and cease therefore. They are not permanent. They are not things that you can have control over. So you have to understand this. So in this way, the tortoise has to be thrown away. In this way, you have to abandon the desire for the 5 aggregates that are affected by clinging. You should not cling to them. So then keep on digging. That is the advice. Then you come across an axe and a block. Here the axe and the blocks, Buddha said, symbolize the 5 chords of sensual pleasure. What are the 5 chords of sensual pleasure? The forms cognizable by the ear. That means the forms we see, perceive by the eyes. That are wished for, that we wish, we desire, that we find agreeable, we find likable, and they are connected with sensual desire, and they are provocative of lust. Not only forms, sounds we hear, and the taste, the odors we smell, the taste we taste, and also the tangibles we cognize by the body, that we find desirable, agreeable, and likable, and connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. These are the 5 chords of sensual pleasure. So it is likened to an axe and a block. Think of a meat station. Throughout the day in a meat station, the meat is cut on the axe and the block. But always at the end of the day, no matter how much of meat you would chop up on the axe and block, all there is going to remain is the axe and the block in that way. In the same way, we in our lives, we experience so much of sensual pleasures. We always seek out sensual pleasures in our life, but they are all impermanent. And gradually, you age, and there comes a day with death you have to give up all these sensual pleasures. That is why Buddha says, always think, all the things that you desire, all the things that are likable to you, all the things you find agreeable, one day you have to give them all up. Because the 5 chords of sensual pleasure, they are not things you can cling to. They are also impermanent. They are things you have to abandon one day. Things you have to give up, whether you like it or not. So here it is asked to throw away the tortoise. So tortoise is represented by, throw away the axe and the block. The axe and block is the desire for sensual pleasures. It has to be abandoned. When you keep on digging, then you come across what? A piece of meat. And the piece of meat is symbol for lustful desire. Lustful desire is symbolized by a piece of meat. Think of a lump of meat that I keep in the open. Every animal, a person might take it away. A dog might drag it away. An eagle might pick it up. So there's always, it is people, the things are drawn to it. Likewise, it is because of the lustful desire that we are drawn to things. So we have to stifle, we have to quench this lustful desire. We have to give it up, we have to abandon it. If not, it is going to cause us so much pain and suffering in this life. That is why here the wise person is advised by the Brahmin to throw away the lump of meat. As long as you are going to hold upon to or cling to the lump of meat, you are going to suffer. So then once they throw away the lump of meat and keep off digging, then the wise person comes across a Naga serpent. So the Naga serpent is a symbol for a bhikkhu who has destroyed all the taints, all the defilements, and completely and forever purified the mind. That is the Arahants. So the Naga serpent symbolizes the Arahant. That is why it is said, leave the Naga serpent. Let him be. Do not harm the Naga serpent. Honor the Naga serpent. This is the meaning, said the Buddha. So see how beautiful this simile is. So this riddle, how Buddha with his wisdom, he unravels the mystery behind the riddle. How very beautiful. And you can be very happy. You can arouse confidence. Oh, how fortunate I am to have gone forth, have taken refuge in such a teacher, the Buddha, the Gautama, Supreme Buddha, the perfectly self-enlightened one. Because here in the beginning you may recall, the deity says no one else other than the Buddha or a disciple of the Buddha or anyone who have learned from this can solve this riddle. No one else can do that. That is the unsurpassed wisdom of the Buddha, our teacher, the enlightened one. So then after in this way Buddha solved the riddle, Venerable Kumara Kassapa was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. And this sutta helped Venerable Kumara Kassapa to develop his wisdom, to mature his wisdom accordingly, and he in the end also became an arahant. So this is a very nice sutta. So we can also practice in this manner if you remember the riddle, the simile, and then you can incorporate this into your life, and you have to dispel ignorance by realizing the Four Noble Truth. Then you can also develop meditation to give up the hindrances, to subdue the hindrances. To give up anger, you can practice loving kindness. And you can think of the danger of the five aggregates of clinging, to give up your attachment to the five aggregates. And you can also think of not the delight you find in the sensual pleasures, not the gratification of it, but rather the danger of the sensual pleasures. So then you can abandon that desire, the attachment to cords of sensual pleasures as well. In this manner, if you gradually practice the teachings of the Buddha, definitely you will reap the benefits in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. So may we all have the good fortune to practice in this manner according to the Vammika Sutta and all the teachings of the Buddha, and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we shall share all the merits we have acquired by this gifting, by gifting the Dhamma. Because Buddha said, if you gift Dhamma, that is the highest gift you can give, because the gift of Dhamma excels all gifts. So it is this Dhamma sermon is sponsored by Dayani, Theo, Michael Tenan, Abraham Tenan, and Sumiati. So may the merits we have, all the merits we have accrued to this Dhamma sermon, this gifting of Dhamma, we shall first share all these merits with all the Brahmas of the world, God Sakka, along with the Tavatins and the Chatu Maharajika Devas, and all other Devas of the world. May all Devas and Brahmas increasing heavenly lifespan, beauty, happiness, power, and be fortunate to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And Dayanitya Michael Tenan, Abraham Tenan, and Sumiati would like to share these merits with their departed father and grandfather, Amiruddin Theo, and also may this merit be shared with all your long lost relatives and loved ones in this life, and also throughout our journey, their journey in samsara, and may their afterlives be comforting and free of suffering, and may they be free from samsara at the earliest opportunity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also may all these merits today we have accrued be shared with our teacher and noble friend, Most Venerable Kiribadgara Jnanananda Thero, especially also the venerable monks of the Mahamevana Buddhist Monastery, the Anagarika monks, the ordination aspirants, and may they all realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also may all these merits be shared with our teachers, parents, friends, relatives, and loved ones, and may they too be well and happy and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may these merits be for all of us, and may we too have the good fortune to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you be well and happy. Namo Buddhaya.
මෙවැනි වටිනා ධර්මදේශනා ශ්‍රවණය කිරීමට ශ්‍රද්ධා ඩේලි YouTube චැනලය සබස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්න.